Everything that has formed our civilization, from language and writing to social and organizational systems, from weaving and farming to electronics and bioengineering, have been created by groups working with a common purpose. Gatherings, private or public, formal or informal, celebratory or purposeful, religious or secular, have always been the way we get things done. Even the outstanding individuals that history credits with changing the world did so with and through others. Would there be a Napoleon without his armies? Would Christianity exist without Christ's followers and evangelists? As Margaret Mead said, "Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has." But the importance, one could even say the supremacy of gatherings, can be obscured in an age of individualism. In a time when the distrust of governments, corporations, universities, the media, and so on deepens, we seem to have no recourse but to ourselves. Events appear to be driving us from me too to me first to me only. The COVID pandemic actually forbade gatherings, increasing our sense of isolation and our wariness of group events. This is not just antithetical to how we get things done, putting us on track to global disaster. It is ultimately delusional, because an individual actually has no viable existence by itself. If, as we suggested in a previous video, reality is relational, each of us could be seen as a gathering more than as an independent being. Who we are, how we experience ourselves at any stage of our lives is largely determined by our constellation of relationships at that time. And so the adab of the gathering, the refinement of our responsiveness within those constellations, may be instrumental to our sustainable well-being and fulfillment, and certainly vital to solving the problems we face in this crisis-ridden world. But adab, as we have offered our understanding of it, is deeply personal, not a preset code of behaviors. This means that each of us will discover for ourselves the appropriate adab in a given situation. There are, however, several principles that can guide us in that exploration. The first is the willingness of individuals to set aside personal desires and opinions on behalf of the whole. The ability to see and respect the group itself as a being, and to relate to that entity with the same adab we bring to the individuals in that group. When we can invest the gathering with its own existence, listening and responding sincerely to its needs and desires, it becomes easier to relinquish the personal in favor of the communal. Of course, this means finding an optimal balance between what I know, believe, and want, and the group's needs. That continual balancing is essential to the adab of the gathering. So we must take our seats, speak our minds clearly, and uphold what we believe in, and yet see and support the group entity following its path, accomplishing its aims. Secondly, we're effective members of an organization to the extent that we actually propagate its cause. This could be a coherent central purpose, as in, for example, the Society of Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, or a foundation of common principles, as in the tenets of the Church, or a desire for enjoyment and bonding, as in a family celebration, or the aims of somewhat amorphous gatherings like the community of the Sufi way. Our relationships within and on behalf of the group should support its existence and promote its evolution. Some aspects of this are straightforward, the practical jobs any gathering requires. But some important group functions can be less obvious. For example, there may be something important that the group as a whole has unconsciously decided to ignore, or has not yet been able to engage. The adab of the gathering can provide a vantage point from which to bring that into awareness in a constructive way, promoting the well-being and effectiveness of the gathering. Honing our communication skills within a gathering is also vital for adab. This means paying attention to what we're saying and, more importantly, how we're saying it. For example, we may not see eye to eye with something that is offered in the group. But if we reply to that with, "I don't agree," or "yes, but," dialogue may be stifled or may even become contentious. Posing questions rather than making statements enlivens communication and promotes group synergy. The most important communication skill may be listening. Listening that is entirely focused on what is being said. It may be that the truly skillful communicator is so absorbed in what is being offered that she only knows how she will respond when she actually hears herself speak. So the adab of the gathering is both about our relationship to the group as an entity and the ongoing refinement of our responsiveness to the members of that gathering. It might be useful then to consider the interpersonal skills at the heart of the way of adab, such things as acceptance, sincerity, open listening, and so on. These are listed below on this webpage and in the YouTube information box. All of these interpersonal skills ask us to continually refine our awareness of human sensibilities and to maintain awareness centered in one's heart, yet encompassing the gathering as a whole. They are rooted in a deepening acceptance of our common humanity, a willingness to accept how flawed and brilliant each of us can be. And they enable us to see that the life we're living is generated by and will have the characteristics of the way we relate to everything, and especially to everyone we meet along the way.